We're talking now about the cosmological argument. The cosmological argument comes from the Greek word cosmos, which some of you may know, like cosmonaut is like is an astronaut or whatever in Russia. But cosmos doesn't mean outer space. It actually means world. Some people get the idea of cosmos as the universe. And to a certain degree, for the Greeks, they believed that basically the world was the earth. And so the cosmos and the earth are the same thing. But basically, it means the study of the world, or the study of the cosmos, the study of the universe. And what the cosmological argument does is it's a very empirical-based argument. And what it does is it says, look, there is something physical that exists. It starts off with this statement. It says something exists. Say it's this pen, right? This pen exists. Okay? And the question would be is, well, why does this pen exist rather than not? Now, the way that the cosmological argument says is this pen exists either because something caused it to exist, something brought it into existence. In this case, it was probably the Papermate Company, okay, because that's the name on the side of it, or it willed itself to exist. And so it says, so it starts off with just simply a basic observance that something exists. It could be you. It could be the world at large. It could be, it could be I think, therefore I am. It could be a mind. It could be anything, but usually it is tangible or physical. And so they say, where does this thing come from? And it says either this thing exists of its own accord, or it's the case that it was brought into existence by something else. Okay? That's basically all it does. It says it either brought itself into existence or it was caused by something else. Now, if it brought itself into existence, then we'll call it God. So if this pen exists by its own will, then it is God. On the other hand, if this pen was created by something else, then whatever created it being the Papermate Company, that thing was either caused to exist by its own self, or it was caused to exist by something else. It couldn't have, so it either caused itself to exist, or it was brought into existence by something else. So the pen example becomes a little bit more confusing because what caused the Papermate Company to exist? Well, a group of investors. And what caused that group, potential to make money? I mean, it's kind of becomes a little bit... So I think it always works a little bit better just sort of go back to you and me. And I could say, what caused you to exist rather than not? And you could say, well, my parents brought me into existence. So what caused your parents to exist? Well, their parents. And what caused their parents to exist? Well, their parents, right? And so eventually, though, you have to get to something that created everything, that caused itself to exist. And when you get to that thing, you can then say that thing is God. Now, why do you say that? Well, why can't we just keep going back? My parents, my parents, my parents, my parents, my parents. And the reason is because of two things. That going back, looking for causes that we call a regress. We are regressing back looking for a cause, like searching for what caused this, what caused that, what caused this, what caused that. We call a regress of causes. And what the cosmological argument does is it simply states you cannot have a circular regress because those are absurd. And I'll talk about that in a second. It's saying you can't go around in a circle and say, well, this caused this, which caused that, which caused that, which caused that, which eventually caused itself. Just sort of like A caused B, B caused C, C caused D, D caused E, E caused A caused B, and just keep going around and around in a circle. You can't do that. And you can't go back infinitely. And so what they do is they basically give arguments over and over again trying to say why circular regresses are impossible and why infinite regresses are impossible. And that's all they basically do. Now, with that stated, the idea, though, is that, this thing causes either itself to exist or it's caused by something else. Now, the regresses can be done in a couple of ways. There can be what we call a sustaining regress, and there could also be what we call a causal regress. A causal regress is the idea that, like, I was caused to exist by my parents. My existence was caused by something. Whereas a sustaining regress might be like, why do I exist now rather than not? And that could be like, well, I exist now because I'm breathing. I exist now because I have a heartbeat. And I exist. And so you can go back through sustaining regresses, which is sort of why you continue to exist versus why you exist in the first place. And so part of the beauty of the cosmological argument is it can be used both to prove that there was a creator, as well as the fact that there is something that maintains the existence of the world in the present day.